Welcome back, y'all. Sorry about that. I'm not quite sure what happened. My whole laptop just kind of started to freeze up. So we're just going to pick it up where we left off at. Hopefully, y'all can find us here, and we are going to talk about this safety room, this cornerback room. Like I said, my biggest thing is that I feel like we have a player that can play cornerback or he can play at star. That was the main thing that I wanted to try to get out there. I absolutely love his game. And we're going to wait till we get some more people in here before we really start to go through a whole lot of this stuff. But let me actually pull this back up. So hopefully y'all can see this. This is just going back to the safety room, star room, cornerback room. I'm curious to see how many people do we want to move around to some different spots. That's going to be one of the biggest things. Can we find some other guys that maybe can play at safety? Just because I have absolutely no idea how many other safeties are actually out there. But bringing in a guy like Colton, that's going to free us up where it's not just about Caleb Beasley. But what do you think about Marcus Gorey? Does Marcus Gorey show you enough where maybe you want him to try out at safety? Because I think that he would look pretty good playing at star. We talked about Tyler Ribbon playing a corner. I think he is more of a corner. Like we said, it's not as easy to, it's not easy to just play to go from cornerback to playing safety. So, we will see how all that looks. But I would actually like to see Dylan Lewis get more of a shot playing at star. I think that he's going to be fine there. And this safety room, that's where the biggest question marks are at for me. So, looking at this whole team, I feel like from top to bottom, obviously we had a wide receiver that just came up. Hopefully we can add him too. That would be big. Because talking about the star room, talking about how much depth we have with our secondary, the wide receiver room is going to have a pretty large bearing on that too, because we know that Boo Carter is going to be playing offense, defense, special teams. So if you come back to this wide receiver room, you see him Boo there. How much is he going to play? How much can he play? We got to find that depth first. But obviously, adding one more body here, you feel a lot more comfortable if we're in a situation where on the defense we say, we don't think that Boo can play as much offense. We're still going to let him do it, but he just can't do it as much. And, then you have at least one more guy that I would say, trust to play it, to play wide out. Probably going to be more of a slot. I'm talking about Jonathan Brady from Cal. Yep. So D's in here. Yes, we are back. So listen, if y'all just now joining us, sorry about the last stream. I don't know what happened. Hopefully y'all got to hear most of the film breakdown portion of it. Indeed, maybe you could tell me, at what point did it stop? Like, I saw that my camera was frozen up, but hopefully y'all could still at least hear what I was saying. Hopefully y'all could see what was happening with the film breakdown and all of that. But then once I tried to fix the camera, that's when the whole thing just fell off the rails. So I guess just let me know down the side of the chat what happened there. Okay, so we're talking about NIL. I was actually going to pull this up because I know we talked about this yesterday. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I know something's been floating around out there since like yesterday, saying that Texas is going to be spending anywhere from $35 to $40 million on their roster next season. Now, one of their insiders from 24/7 Sports, he shot that down. He's like, no, we're not going to spend that. But where I saw that was from, I think, Fox Sports. I had read their article on it, and they were basically saying that, yeah, they're going to spend 35 to 40 million, but it's not like that's with the NIL and with the revenue sharing, which is about where I have Tennessee at. Like, I've got to say at 30. And I said yesterday, I was like, shoot, I think, 40 is about where you want to be. That makes sense, because if you're only spending 13 million with your NIL, about 17 million with the rev sharing, which is what people think football teams will get is 17 million, then, I mean, you're at 30 million. You know what I mean? So for you to get up to 35, then that means that you're putting out about 18 million to 20 million just from the name, image, and likeness portion of it, which I think that Texas could definitely do. I'm pretty sure that they were close to that last year. So, yeah, I mean, I think that that's what the going rate is going to be moving forward. It's going to be a lot more money, which just means that the players are going to get paid more. So it's still relative. And that's why we do need for somebody to come out and, I would say, man, like, these guys got to be, like, they have to be employed by these institutions. And until that happens, it's just going to be more and more and more money, So it's good for the kids, but I don't know how realistic and feasible it's always going to be. At some point, the money will end up running out for most institutions, but for some, they just have really, really deep pockets. Those Texas schools, they got their oil money. That they got some very deep pockets. But yeah, I think that Tennessee's doing a pretty good job. And, whenever I've come out previously and I said, hey, I don't think that Tennessee's working with too much money, it's not to say, that's relative. and I've tried to say it so many different ways. I don't know how else to say it, but that's all relative. Like if you're going up against teams that are spending, like $40 million, right? Even with that revenue sharing, then if they can spend that 40, if you can only spend 30, then obviously like you're in a different category. You don't have as much money as some of the other institutions. I don't think everyone's going to have that. I think that it's just going to pretty much end up looking about how it looked last season, where there's one or two teams that's got a crazy amount of money, and then you've got pretty much everybody else is in a, I would say, pretty even playing field. I feel like 30 to 35 million, if you're within that ballpark, that's going to be like the average of the Power 2 conferences. So talking about Big Ten, talking about SEC, but you're going to have the 1 to 2 programs that are going to be spending more than that. It's going to be 40 million. It might be more than that. So that's my whole point. If you're on more of the lower scale of the competition, then relatively speaking, you don't have as much money, right? I mean, that's like, those are just facts. But obviously we have enough to go out and add some players. So I'm excited that Tennessee was able to go out and add what? We've got 2 guys now out of this spring window. We addressed some very pressing needs. Again, Colton Hood coming in, he's not going to be playing safety. Safety is the biggest need that Tennessee had left, but he's going to free up some other players that were playing at cornerback or at start to play safety, and we might still target one more safety. We still need a wide receiver, so hopefully we can land on Brady. We might try to target some other people too, but that's pretty much where I'm at with this. I feel good about it. Let me see. So D is saying, or D is asking, do I think bringing Hood in means Beasley is moving to safety for sure, or is it we're not? Okay. So with that, I couldn't tell you for sure what it is, but I think that the thought process, it's got to be somewhat of, we need to free up some other players that can play safety. So it's going to be an open competition. I do think that Caleb Beasley would be the first guy that you look at and you say, he needs to be able to play safety because he's the only realistic body I'll look at, or he's the most realistic body, I should say, that can play at safety. Okay. And I'm going to go back to, we're going to go back to that safety room just to show you. And also, we'll look at some of the other spots too. But looking at these safeties, obviously all these guys, they've got the safety size. Tim Merritt, he's a freshman. He's only 185. Safeties have got to be very close to 200, if not over 200, for the reasons that we highlighted going through that breakdown. That they've got to play inside of the box. Like, they're going to have to be very physical. So 185, that's just not enough. I think that Timothy Merritt is making the move. I don't know if it's full time. He's probably going to keep on getting cross-trained. He might gain some more weight prior to the season starting up, but I think that he's going to be more of a corner. And if you look at some of the other possibilities, we know that Boo Carter is not going to do it, or maybe he might. Maybe you move Boo to safety. Wouldn't that be something where you move Boo to safety and you let somebody else play at star? I mean, that would be crazy. But, looking at some of these other players, I think that Marcus Gorey, is he closer to like 195? If he is, you might try him out at safety. But looking at their sizes, man, like these guys, they're just not that big, outside of a Caleb Beasley. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe look at like a William Wright. He's close to 200 pounds. Maybe he could play safety. And then looking at these cornerbacks, most of these guys are going to be, these aren't really safety guys. I don't really see anybody here that I say, hey, they can play safety outside of probably Marcus Gorey. Marcus Gorey could probably do it. Nobody else inside of that room, I think, could actually play it. Maybe Colin Brazel. Possibly. But he's only, it's 6'1", 172. That's just not going to be big enough. So he would have to gain so much weight to have the opportunity to be able to get moved to safety. So that's why I say Caleb Beasley, because he's probably the most realistic option for us to move to safety. And, in a perfect world, Tennessee, adds Colton Hood, then we go out and add one more safety. That's what I would want to see. And somebody who can really play, somebody who can really ball. But that's pretty much it. Hopefully y'all could see that that whole film breakdown. And if you couldn't, then please let me know. And like I said, we can go back through it. I just want to make sure that everyone could see it. But if not, then we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up, and we'll start getting ready for this baseball team. Hopefully we can win this next series. I know we're in a little bit of a slump. People are worried. I'm not worried. That's how baseball works. Baseball, basketball. You're not going to win every game. You're not going to win every series. So as long as we're peaking at the right point, then I think that the baseball team will be fine. So I wanted to make sure that I could say that before we hang this thing up. But that's pretty much it, man. If you don't have anything to add to this, I don't have any more thoughts. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. And as always, y'all please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.